They said the desert breaks everyone eventually. For Sergeant Elena Reyes, it didn't. It just burned away everything that wasn't real. When she arrived at Camp Avernus, a NATO joint training base buried deep in the Nevada wastelands, no one gave her a second look. She was small, quiet, unremarkable. Her boots were scuffed, her uniform sun-bleached and threadbare. She carried no bravado, no swagger, just a duffel, a notepad, and the kind of posture that comes from years of being ready without having to prove it. "Another one," someone muttered as she passed the barracks. "Must be logistics or comms." No one noticed how she scanned every corner, memorizing distances, exits, and patterns without moving her head. She didn't need to speak to own the room. Silence did it for her. Captain Briggs noticed her too, but for all the wrong reasons. He was the kind of man who believed rank was the same as respect, and noise was the same as strength. Tall, broad, and proud of both, he'd been running the base's combat training program for 2 years without anyone daring to challenge him. When he read her assignment slip, Advanced Tactical Evaluation Observer, he smirked. "Observer?" he scoffed. "You mean charity project." The next morning, the temperature hit 112 degrees Celsius. The air shimmered above the sand. Briggs barked orders across the yard. "Pair up! You don't get water until one of you's on the ground." He pointed at her. "Reyes, you're with me." The recruits exchanged looks, half amused, half horrified. The captain wasn't just picking her, he was making an example. "On this mat," Briggs announced loudly, "there are no excuses. There's strength and there's failure, nothing in between." He stepped closer, towering over her. "You want to play soldier? Show me you belong." The crowd circled tight. The sound of shifting boots filled the silence. Reyes didn't posture, didn't drop her bag dramatically or square up for the cameras. She just stepped onto the mat and tied her hair back with a rubber band from her wrist. Briggs lunged. The ground shook when his weight hit. But she wasn't there. She moved like water, efficient, unhurried, invisible between heartbeats. A pivot, a shift of balance, a twist of hips, and the captain's momentum betrayed him. He fell hard. The sand swallowed his pride before he could even hit the ground properly. She didn't strike him. She didn't need to. Control wasn't in her fists. It was in her calm. The recruits gasped. Briggs roared, springing back to his feet, red-faced. "You think that was luck?" he shouted, circling her like a wounded animal. Again. The second time, he came in harder. And again, she was gone before he touched her. He hit the sand. Harder. The silence afterward wasn't just disbelief, it was fear. From the observation tower, Colonel Maddox lowered his binoculars. He'd seen that footwork once before, in Afghanistan 12 years ago. It wasn't Army, it wasn't SEAL, it wasn't NATO, it was Spectre Division, a ghost unit so classified that even its existence was officially denied. He radioed the control tent. "Reyes, bring her to me. Now." When she entered his office, she saluted quietly. Her jawline was still smudged with dust. Her voice was calm. "You wanted to see me, sir?" He slid a manila folder across the table. It was almost empty, except for one line, stamped in red. "Clearance, Spectre class, access Omega level." "Who trained you?" he asked. Her answer was as calm as her movements. "No one you could name, sir." The colonel's eyes narrowed, then softened. "I thought that program was gone." "It was," she said, "until it wasn't." He leaned back in silence. Then he smiled faintly, the kind of smile that hides understanding too heavy to put in words. "Welcome home, Sergeant." That evening, word spread through the camp faster than wildfire. The quiet woman who'd taken down the captain wasn't just some recruit. She was the one. The ghost from training manuals. The one whose unit never existed, but whose results were whispered in every classified debriefing. Briggs stayed in his quarters. No one saw him in the mess that night. The next morning, the recruits gathered on the field. Colonel Maddox stood before them, his voice firm but solemn. "Yesterday, some of you learned the difference between command and control, between noise and mastery." He turned toward Reyes. "Sergeant Reyes has agreed to stay on as an instructor. Learn from her, if you can keep up." He saluted, and the base, for the first time in its history, fell utterly silent. Weeks passed. Reyes didn't bark orders or hand out punishments. She taught in silence. "Control the pause," she'd say quietly. "Timing isn't speed, it's awareness." Recruits learned more from her breathing than from any lecture they'd ever heard. Even the loud ones stopped shouting. The desert had a new language, one of stillness. Then one day, a transport helicopter landed unannounced. A man in a black suit stepped out, his eyes hidden behind mirrored glasses. He handed Colonel Maddox a sealed envelope, nodded toward Reyes, and said, "Command requests her. Immediate redeployment." The colonel's jaw tightened. "Where?" The man adjusted his glasses. "Off the record." Reyes didn't speak. She picked up her bag, saluted, and walked toward the chopper. The blades kicked up a storm of dust, and then she was gone. Later that week, the recruits noticed something new on the training mat. A single white circle drawn in chalk, right where Briggs had fallen. No name, no plaque, no explanation. Just a message written beneath it in clean block letters: "Respect is earned in silence." From that day on, every new soldier began their first drill standing in that circle. The instructors didn't have to explain. Everyone already knew. They called her the Ghost of Avernus. A legend that didn't roar, didn't gloat, didn't need recognition. Because strength doesn't announce itself. It simply stands, waits, and when the world finally underestimates it, it moves. If you believe real strength doesn't shout, it shows. Leave a comment below and tell me where you're watching from. And hit like if you'd want to stand in that circle someday.